7. And we now need to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jan Gaffney. Here. Michelle Ginn.
Here.
Dan Green.
Here.
Erin Huberg absent. Sally Lamb. Here. Allison McFadden Kiesling. Here. Marilyn Palmer absent. Julie Bennett here.
Need an approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. And our call to public? Technically, we don't have
Staff.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. There is minus on here. Did everybody get a chance to review the ones? All of them, especially the penal fine and the overdrive invoice, HRC invoice.
Everything looks good to me.
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Library statistics. We have traffic statistics here.
Actually, Bill just wanted to point out that, as is the usual way, June and July have been our busiest months of the year, so everything is up in July above what it was in June, and June was above May. So we are still growing in both circulation and visits to the building, computer usage, etc. The youth department is going to do, I was thinking they were going to do their report, it's a little too soon after they compiled. So they said in September that they would give you the complete rundown of how fabulous the summer went. So,
It only just ended last week, so.
yep, I think they're resting.
they're
It's been a very busy summer for them. So.
But I heard some good reviews, so that is very good. Julie, I guess the director's report.
Okay. In terms of finances, the library received a penal fine check from Oakland County. The amount received was $71,859.13. Last year, the amount received was $53,437.07. So that's quite an uptick, and we're very pleased to have that extra revenue coming in. In terms of building and grounds, we've received notification from our engineer at HRC that ASI has the library scheduled for phase 1 of the parking lot project to take 10 to 15 days, beginning on Tuesday, September 8th. Phase 1 consists of pulverizing and repaving the library's driveway from Clarkson Road to the south end of the parking lot. This will include the rebuilding of the 2 storm drains in that area. ASI's intention is to keep the library open throughout this project. However, the library staff is working on a number of strategies to keep the public informed about the progress of the work, because it is likely that some days will be easier to access the parking lot than others. So, but we've got a plan for that. And then in terms of collaborations and projects, it is my pleasure to announce that Independence Township Clerk Barbara Pilata has won the 2015 Michigan Library Association Heart of a Champion Award. The Michigan Library Association established the Heart of a Champion Award in 2012 to recognize a library supporter, such as an elected official, community supporter, business, or strategic partner, who has shown an exceptional commitment to libraries through continued advocacy and support of funding for their local library. Barb will be recognized at the Michigan Library Association Annual Conference in Novi on October 29th at the Keynote Speakers Luncheon. So we're very excited about that, and congratulations to Barb.
Yes, congratulations to Barb. Very deserving. On the building and grounds on the parking lot, then they definitely can start on the 8th.
That's what they're telling me, but it's a weather permitting sort of thing. Yeah, so we're written in on that date, but I suspect as we get closer, I'll know for certain, but that's the intention.
That's still the intention.
Yep, that's the intention, would be that.
I appreciate the extra effort on the part of the library staff to try to keep people informed about it.
We're working on, there's an agenda item where we can discuss it a little bit further, some of what their strategies are, and anyway.
First regular business, appointment of full-time youth services librarian.
Someone seems excited about that.
Well, we'll go through the formality. Okay. At the meeting on June 22nd, 2015, the library board approved the posting for a full-time youth services librarian. We posted the job on July 1st, 2015. We received 24 resumes. The selection committee consisted of Tracy Bedford, Michelle Ginn, Lawrence Marble, and Julie Meredith. We conducted 4 interviews, and the committee unanimously recommends Erin Holmes. Included in your packet, you have the job posting and proposed offer, as well as Ms. Holmes' submission packet. Ms. Holmes was easily the strongest interview. Erin has worked for our library as a part-time librarian since December 9th of 2014. During that time, she has become a valued member of the team and is well liked by the staff and the patrons. While initially hired as a part-time librarian who would help staff at our information desk, Ms. Holmes was asked to help with children's and teen programming when our teen librarian left the position. She admirably not only accepted this responsibility, but created some very special programming, including a revamping of our teen art show, which was extremely well received by library staff, teachers, and the artists themselves. Erin, at the request of the head of Children's and Teen Services, filled the need for a nighttime story time by creating and running our pajama story time, which also has been well received by the library community. She has demonstrated genuine joy at being part of our library's team and is a hard worker independently and as part of group endeavors. In the interview, the selection committee was most impressed by her attention to detail in the creation of programming and her enthusiasm and passion for youth services. Based on the salaries of current staff and the experience in her resume, the committee recommends a salary of $38,500 and a standard full-time benefits package. This position was budgeted to be added in September of 2015, but in order to allow this person some additional time to prepare for fall programs and events, we are requesting to make the appointment as of August 17th, 2015. And if you look at the source of funds and budget considerations, during the last adjustments to staffing and budget, the base salary for this position was added to cover 4 months, so essentially September to the end of the year. It was proposed that the other adjustment for benefits be made when the candidate was selected. This candidate is being recommended for slightly more than the base wage and is being requested that she be permitted to start 2 weeks earlier than originally planned. To accommodate this candidate, the following budget adjustments would be needed. In line item 706 full-time wages, we would need an additional $2,410. In 718 MERS retirement, we need an additional $110. In 719 MERS HCSP, we would need an additional $75. In 716 health insurance, we need an additional $1,610 for a total of $4,205. Since creating this full-time position will then eliminate the part-time position this internal candidate currently is in, the money to cover these costs can be transferred from line 707 part-time wages. Oh, and I'm supposed to tell you that Tracy felt very, very bad not being here tonight. This was actually written by Tracy. She wanted to be here tonight, but she is taking a break from being the head of Children's Services and is inaccessible by phone up north, so hopefully enjoying the weather.
It's exciting to have Erin joining the library as full-time staff. And I'm glad that we could accommodate her, and also to start 2 weeks early with the transfer of the funds for the part-time. It's kind of exciting to have a candidate that actually says, let me start right now. And get going.
Can't start until we vote.
That's right. So I think we should vote now. We have a motion to appoint Erin Holmes as the full-time youth services librarian.
I move that we appoint Erin Holmes as the full-time youth services librarian with a salary of $38,500 and the standard benefits package of a full-time employee. The date of hire will be Monday, August 17th, 2015, and that we approve the necessary budget adjustments as presented.
Second. Is there any questions or comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Erin Holmes is our next. Perhaps before we make the necessary budget adjustments, did you want to say anything, Erin?
I cannot say thank you enough
to everyone, and it's so nice to finally meet everybody in the board too. I've seen and met people in passing, but to be here in front of all of you guys is fantastic. But honestly, I am so beyond thrilled.
So are we.
I am just so thrilled and so honored to be a part of such a great team. I have so much great respect for everybody here, so to be a part of that is such an honor to me, and I'm just so excited for the future and just for everything. So honestly, I cannot thank all of you enough for giving me this opportunity. I am so excited to bring my ideas and whatnot to the library, and maybe some dance moves. Probably some dance moves. So thank you all seriously so much from the deepest parts of my heart. I really am just so grateful and honored. So
You're very welcome. Your interview and your resume spoke to your abilities. So I'll be excited to see that.
Yeah, I think we got a very strong candidate.
Certainly an enthusiastic one.
Wah, wah.
In light of that now, we need to approve the necessary budget adjustments as presented to,
Actually, I think she
That was in the motion.
I thought they're written as two separate ones. I thought we had to do two separate ones.
Well, I did this too, but
Oh,
she
you did
actually
make
had
it
it
part
in
of
as
the
one.
motion. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's all right. You did.
I didn't know which way you would want to do it, so I put it in there as both, so.
One was fine. Okay. Moving along.
All right.
We have a request to approve the stage 2 of the server replacement bid. And I think Bill Bowman is going to speak to us on that.
The second portion of the server replacement bid is the actual physical server itself. I purchased all of the other infrastructure parts that were requested last month. They've either all already shipped to me and have been distributed to who needs to get them prepped to bring out here. So a lot of that stuff's going to be done this week, which is a good start. And then, so the next piece is actually purchasing the physical server that I'm going to need to replace a lot of the pieces that are in my server cabinet. So, in the bid process, the server that met the specifications required to complete that project were done by both CIDL and the KTG were both the same specifications, but the CIDL server came in at a lower cost, so I was looking to purchase that one. That's what the motion states.
I find it, I guess, I just found it strange when I read through this that we would put out a bid and then it would come through and would actually meet requirements, the PC model bid.
I don't know why, but after the bid, I just said, well, apparently they didn't want to give me, he didn't want to bid what I asked, and I don't know why.
Probably right.
But maybe his vendor couldn't get him the correct things, I don't know.
That could be.
I mean, it was a different manufacturer, too, of equipment. It was HP versus Dell, and the Dell just had a lesser spec than what I required for my project.
When do you anticipate this being up and running?
I should, if I order the server, it usually takes a week to 10 days to get to me, so I should have most of the project done definitely by the end of September. It'll definitely be done by the end of September.
Very good.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions on this? Can we have a motion to approve the stage 2 server replacement bid?
I move that we approve the bid by CDWG for equipment in the amount of $13,190.97.
I'll second that.
Any more questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming and presenting that to
You
us.
want to do the circulation policy?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's-
Oh, sure.
I can do it, but you're here, so.
I forgot about that.
Since you're here.
Aaron also. Okay. Next proposal, approval of the update to our circulation policy. There's been just a few changes. One of them being the loan limits on CDs. I don't know how much
Yeah,
we
most
actually
of the-
circulate anymore.
All of the changes were just on loan limits for mostly increasing them from a limit to unlimited, up to the total items that the patron can check out. We moved music CDs now due to the fact that we're changing over the CD cases. They're significantly easier to open, which makes wear on my staff a little easier, so we can get more, people can check out more at a time. The magazines, we had a limited supply before. I mean, we still have a limited supply, but it didn't make sense to I talked with the magazine and library loan people, and they're like, there's no reason that we need to limit them to 6.
Now that we have the electronic.
Right.
We have electronic copies which are unlimited anyway, so you can check out any one, as many as you want, and those electronic ones don't expire. So we just felt there was no need to limit those anymore. For the people who want 7 magazines, go right ahead. What was the other? There was another.
We added the Lucky Days books.
Oh, yes.
And we added the Kindles, which hadn't been written into
Right.
the policy before.
So some of the changes were additional types of materials that we have added to the collection that weren't in the policy before.
I like the addition of the Lucky Day books. Kind of gives more people a chance at reading something right away.
Do you need an explanation what Lucky Day, the Lucky Day books are?
It seemed pretty clear in here. We can go ahead and put it in for the record, though, if you want to give us.
A Lucky Day book is a book that has been rented by the library from a company that we check out for 2 weeks at a time with 0 hold capability and no renewals. So basically, it's your lucky day if you find the book on the shelf. So then you can't, and it's, some of them are copies of books we have in addition, some of them are other copies of just the books that we don't own. So this is and then they stay for about 6 months, and then we rotate the collection. I believe there was to be a specific number of copies available in our 6-month rotation. I don't remember what Lawrence's limit.
He has a formula.
He has a formula that he's using for that, especially things. It fills, for people who are long hold lists. Sometimes we'll get a set of copies of that book, and then people can just rotate their way through that.
So they're like rented books? Is that what they're?
We rent them from the company that provides them to us. They provide them with the McNaught and McKay, I believe, is the company that we rent them from. And so in the end of 6 months, we ship them back.
Cool. And it saves us a lot of money because when there's something that has a really long hold list, we can get it for some period of time, but then when that book is no longer as popular, we're able to release it
Just
back
release
to
those
the
copies
company.
back to the McNaught instead of
Instead of
having
us
it show.
having to fill up ourselves with, 50 copies of a book that is no longer as popular as it was.
Are those found in one special place or just throughout?
They are found near the new books, which is across from the information desk. They have their own set of shelving. I believe it's 1 column of shelving that is the Lucky Day book. It's all the way, if you're looking from the information desk, it's to the right.
Okay. So sometimes people will put a hold on a popular title that they want, and they happen into the library, see that the title that they want is available as Lucky Day, check it out and cancel their hold. And so they get it sooner, the person who was waiting on hold list gets it sooner. Everybody wins.
It's a lucky day.
It is a lucky day.
It's your Lucky
It's all
Day.
good.
The book is here. Yep.
Yep.
It's a nice service to add.
And then the Kindles, we have 6 of them that we have. I think we're at about 103 books, I think, on the Kindles themselves. They're one of our deposit items. They check out for 2 weeks, again with no renewals, because we want to charge them again. So I have a set of chargers behind the circulation desk that we plug them in when they get returned.
The actual charging will last for 2 weeks.
Easily. Unless you read for 10 hours a day. Then it won't.
Successful.
Kindles they state that their battery life is about a month. With a short, if you read less than an hour a day, it should last a month. But I kind of cut that in half and said, okay, every 2 weeks I want to make sure that they're charged.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
2 week period seems like further general.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people use it for the people who want to learn how to use the Kindle before or decide whether they want a Kindle. So we have people that check them out, go, okay, this is cool, they give it back and they will go buy their own, which then they use on our downloadables.
All the way around.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're going to need a motion now to update the circulation policy with these 4 changes that we have highlighted. The Lucky Day books, no loan limit on the magazines, the Kindles, that there can be 1 per card with a 2-week loan period, and also the music CDs to remove the loan limits on those.
I move that we approve the updated policy as presented.
Second. Who's the second? Kelly, is that the second?
Any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We have our updates. Thank you, Bill.
The next one's yours too, but I'll do it.
No, man, what is that? What's that one? Oh, okay. I'll sit there, that one
Can I get up
too.
here?
Not yet.
Yep, as discussed by the library board staffing committee, it would be helpful to the head of circulation IT coordinator to have an experienced circulation clerk designated to assist with updating procedures, training new staff, and developing schedules attached to the formal job description for board approval based on those discussions. I don't know if Bill wants to add anything.
What can I add?
I didn't know if you had any comments.
Yes, this position will be of great assistance to me because I'm not able to be here, all the hours that we're open. And then there's definitely some things that need to be covered when I'm not here. And relying on non-circulation full-time employees is fine. However, I think that there's room to have another part-time employee that has some of the same skills, some of the same skills that and abilities that I have in regards to things like fines and stuff like that.
Policy clarification.
And policy clarifications. And so that's why I think this would be a very useful position for me to have.
I'm assuming, and I didn't update myself on this, that the cost of adding this position, does this mean that there will be another part-time position that will kind of move into this position?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an internal candidate.
It's an internal candidate that I
The
have.
staffing committee met just before this, and I have assured them that the budget will accommodate it.
That's
It is
what
an
I was
internal candidate, so it would
Yep.
be, yes, it would be, I would not be adding a staff member, it would just be shifting duties from one staff member to this position.
Okay. I assumed that, but I just wanted to be real clear on that. So we need to approve the senior circulation clerk job description.
I move that we approve that position as presented.
Second.
Is there any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor of approving the senior circulation clerk job description, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Approved. I think that's it.
Now I don't have any.
I don't see your name on that.
No.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
At
I guess
this
it's a good
time,
thing you
since
came.
Marilyn has come to the meeting, would you?
My brain referred it to last year.
Oh.
So I'm thinking of the last meeting as item number 2.
Actually, we're on.
We're at item number 5.
5, yep. Oh, the senior clerk, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think maybe Vicki should continue to do this.
Okay.
Okay.
We have the approval of renewal of the HAP insurance plan.
Okay. Each year at this time, we review the health insurance plan that covers the full-time library employees. Included in your packet is an explanation of the rate changes for our renewal on December 1st, 2015, how this is impacted by the Affordable Care Act and the recommendation from our insurance agent. And essentially, if you look, Kim Hopkins has sent us an email. HAP is going to increase the rates on the plan by 7.9% on December 1st of 2015. These rates are lower than if we moved to an ACA plan with either HAP or any other carrier. They are recommending to us, one of their groups, the option to keep the current plans. So essentially what we're requesting this evening is just board approval to renew the plan.
Does anyone have any questions or comments on this? Basically, a renewal, of course, with the increase in cost.
And I think that's probably
just
in line with everybody else's cost increases.
Well, essentially it is, and what she was most concerned about is if we bid it out and go with something else. The value in renewing it is that the moment that we go with another carrier, then we're subjected to some of the Affordable Care Act requirements that would raise the rates. So the way the Affordable Care Act has been implemented has allowed us to continue to renew with a minimal increase in rates for both the employer and the employees. So it doesn't really behoove us to bid it out and to go do anything else because they're basically saying no matter what we do, it's going to be more expensive than this option.
And I think in most of the plans, it could be grandfathered in. That way they're saying that way.
And this may be the last year that we're able to do that. the implication from what I read in the notes is that this might be it.
It sounded like it to me when I looked.
I actually thought last year was it though, so we'll see.
Could be another extension.
There might be another extension. Could be.
Do we have an approval, motion to approve the renewal of the HAP insurance plan?
I move to approve the renewal of the current HAP healthcare plan for library employees.
Second?
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have a renewal of the current HAP healthcare plan for library employees. Now we move on to our building. Renewal and approval of the bid to remove the letters and repair the retaining wall by the fire exit door.
So requests for bids were made for two projects. One to remove the library's old name from the side of the building and repair the bricks. And the second one was to repair the retaining wall near the meeting room fire escape door. And I'm going to review the bids. Essentially, there aren't too many companies out there that want to remove the letters from the building.
That's wonderful.
I found one, and the bid is in here from National Restoration, Inc. This is the company that did our sidewalk repair work last year. They did a really nice job, nice clean work. Very respectful workers that came, very, very nice work done. This would remove the letters from the south wall just outside this wall behind us, actually. Cut out and tuck point any damaged mortar joins. Remove and replace the damaged brick, and we actually have, in the meeting room closet, plenty of bricks from when the building was built.
Attic stock.
Yeah, attic stock, yes, it's attic stock, except it's in the closet, but whatever. So anyway, they could do that, and then they will power wash the wall that the letters were mounted onto, and the cost of the bid is $2,500 to do that work. I also had him give me a bid for the landscape wall, this retaining wall, which is settling and shifting because of all the bushes and that sort of thing. And that he's giving us a bid of $2,300. I also looked for some other local landscapers who might be interested in that because, interestingly enough, the gentleman from National Restoration felt like his bid would be high. And he thought we would do better going to some local landscapers. His bid is, first of all, it was sort of like the parking lot. I had trouble finding people who really wanted to do the work. So I only have two bids here, and the other bid is higher. So, but the other bidder is local. So I believe that
Local. Independent stock.
Lowry's is the other bid. It's a little bit higher, but they are local. So I'm going to leave it up to the board which direction that she would like to go. We would be able to accommodate either. Interestingly enough, after sitting down with the staffing committee and working through some of the costs and that sort of thing, there's money in the part-time budget. We're under budget with our part-time, so we would be able to accommodate the two projects by making a budget adjustment from there, because you'll remember we made a budget adjustment of all undesignated revenue to finish the parking lot, so we're going to take this from somewhere else. That would be my recommendation, but whichever way you would like to go is okay. The pleasure of the board on that one.
Anybody have any comments on this? Opinions?
My general feeling here is that since National Restoration did the original work,
Well, they didn't do the original. No, they didn't do the original retaining wall, but they have done work here before, and when they do it, they'll tie the two. I think that's why we got a good price. Was because he kind of tied the two projects together.
Okay.
He's not saying that if we don't do that, he's going to raise the letters, but the cost of removing the letters. But I think that's why he gave us a nice.
Well, and then we've got one crew coming in,
yeah,
one group and doing it all instead of having somebody come and do one and then they
Yep.
leave and somebody comes and does the other one. And it's more cost effective. I also personally admire a contractor that says, I might be high, you might want to try something else. And, so in my opinion, he gets points for that too. And he wasn't high, so.
That part I thought was interesting. I was expecting it to be a little bit less from others. And I think it's very much like the parking lot, is that they have the landscapers have plenty of work, and maybe not enough employees to do the jobs that they need to do. So we're getting some premium pricing on
Councilman's project.
So I would move that we hire National Restoration to do both jobs as quoted.
I would second that. That's a good idea.
Anyone else with any more questions or comments? All in
Very
favor?
clear,
Pardon?
very clear presentation.
It is very clear. And they just spelled out very clearly.
Yeah, exactly what they're going to do. It's a good bid.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We will have.
So before we move on, I would request a budget adjustment of 4,800 from line 707 to 975, which would be the building line
So
item.
we need to add that.
Yep,
From 707
707, which would be part-time,
to,
to 975, which is the building, in order to accommodate this project, because it's an unbudgeted project.
Because we have some extra funds in 707 now because of the elimination position.
Yep.
So we can move that to use for this. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll move that we transfer $4,800 from line item 707 to line item 975 to
I'll
accomplish
second.
this project.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll transfer $4,800 from part-time 707 to 970 building maintenance.
And I'll call John and get it scheduled. Thank you.
And the last thing is the discussion of the parking lot project communication plan. I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. I was jumping the gun. It was the last item on the agenda, and I was excited. So. While the board was finalizing the negotiations with the contractor for phase 1 of the parking lot project, the staff has been discussing methods to handle communication to the public about the project itself and accessibility to the building. Library director will present recommendations from the staff and request board approval on aspects that may require their review. So the question that came up when you had your special meeting to discuss the parking lot was the possibility of how accessible the building would be. They do want to keep us open through the whole project. But basically what our concern is that if we have days that it's easier to get in and out than others, it's going to be hard for some people to get their materials back on time. So we tossed around a bunch of different thoughts on that. The staff had talked about the possibility of if we close in our system, in Polaris, which is our checkout system, if we close in Polaris, the items would not be due, but for every day you close, everything gets pushed and is due the day after the last closure date. So that's not really the best way to do it. Because all that does is make 10 times more stuff due all on one day, and that's not going to go well. However, the technology will allow for us, and this is what we do when there's a power outage or a snow day, we go ahead and allow materials to check out normally. But if we have an issue the day of, for example, if the power goes out or if we have a snow day, if we close that day, it waives all of the fines for that day. And if you do bring your materials back, they are on time, but if you bring them back the next day, they are still considered to be on time. So instead of making a decision to close in advance, what Bill is suggesting, our head of circulation, is that on a day-to-day basis, based on the accessibility of the parking lot, we would close and waive fines if need be.
It sounds less.
And they want it, basically what the staff and I would like to do is make sure that the board is okay with that procedure. That's how we do it for snow days and how we do it for power outages and when the building is less accessible and people may not be able to get out.
A great courtesy to the public too.
And it's kind of essentially the same thing because people could return their books on a snow day, or if the power was out, they could drop them in the drop-off. They can, if they can get into the parking lot, they could return them. So I kind of like that as a solution that's kind of really clean.
And I don't know how we can make this known to people. If they come up here, they find they don't have time because they have to wait too long to get into the parking lot or whatever. We're always running behind doing on things. That they'll just find out later that they don't have to pay the fine on it.
Yeah, so essentially what we're doing is, Christina, who's our community relations person, she and I have been talking about this at length, and So we've got some strategies, and the full-time staff also met the other day and we were discussing it. One of the first things we want to do is make sure that we have some sort of a handout, like a bookmark, that every time somebody checks something out, we put it in there so that they know this is the time frame, these 10 to 15 days, this is when this is all going to take place, so please be forewarned. So we have a lengthy list of people that we need to call. The company that delivers, the UPS driver, and the interlibrary loan delivery service, and all of these various carriers and people that visit our building on a regular basis, so we want to contact all of them. But in terms of the patrons, we want to have something that lets them know this is the time frame we're going to do this. The staff would like to use social media and post photos on a daily basis of how things are going, so people can keep track on a day-to-day basis how things are going, and we would be able to forewarn people using that venue. The parking lot is really hard to get to today, you might want to come tomorrow instead. So that sort of thing. Part of the reason I put this on here is because I thought that the staff might come up with a plan that they might want to do. I didn't know if they would want to do mailings or anything like that, but what they decided is we do have email addresses for many of our patrons in the system. By law, we cannot use those for any purpose except for notifying people about their accounts. And I will double check with our attorney to make sure that this would be okay. But we think we can do like one blanket email that says, please be forewarned, the library has construction in the parking lot over these dates. I want to check in with her to make sure that that's not a violation. It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, because that's more of a courtesy thing,
Yep.
because you are a patron.
Absolutely. So we want to use that method. We will also use our constant contact email through the friends to contact people and let them know. We're going to call the school and see if they will do an e-blast, because of course the day after Labor Day is also the first day of school. And because this is our driveway, it could potentially affect Clarkson Road. So we are going to negotiate with our contractor and hopefully convince them to not do it as the kids are heading into filming kids leave for school.
With the very first day of school is our new high school drivers.
Exactly. So we're going to talk to them about that as well. I'm in negotiations with the engineer about that to make sure that because they don't know exactly where the high school is in relation and that sort of thing. So we're going to have those conversations as well. But as I said, I wanted to have this moment when we could talk about it, and if there was anything, like if they wanted to do a mailing, I would need money to do that, but that's not. Everything that they've decided they want to do is all low cost.
Okay.
So we don't need any budget adjustments. Is there anything that you're thinking of, any issues that you're thinking that we...
No, because really it's an issue for the actual patrons. A lot of times we're trying to contact the community. This time we really just need to contact our users.
I mean, you're going to probably miss somebody who'll fall through the cracks that way, but it's the number of people that will happen to, and it's not that it's going to be impossible to get in, it's going to be more of a challenge. I don't think you need to put the stress on letting everybody know, the people that are here with some frequency, and if the schools would do the e-blast, then...
And in that case, normally they're a little reluctant to do those kinds of things. For example, if it were a library event, they wouldn't necessarily do an e-blast, but because this could potentially affect the comings and goings to the actual schools, I thought that they would probably be
confident
interested
that
in
they
doing
would,
that.
especially with the Clarkson Road, they would want to alert. They have sent out e-blasts before to alert when the construction was going on. It really didn't have anything to do with the school, but it still
So it
impacted the traffic.
We were thinking that they would want to. Melissa's going to talk to the chamber because they do e-blasts as well, and have an e-blast go out through that. We have a regular ad in the paper, so Christina's going to include that in our normal ad, just so that people are aware of where we are in this process and this project. So.
And I like the idea of using the social media with daily updates and photos. I think that's kind of, getting it out there too.
And then the staff is considering asking the friends to fund a little farewell to potholes party at the end of the project.
Okay.
I think they just want an excuse to have cake, but but the friends are generous when it comes to those kinds of things, and the public has been so patient through this whole process of us going through this whole bid
and the staff that has strived for that probably more frequently than any public.
So. But I thought that was an interesting suggestion. So
that is nice. Yeah.
It all sounds good, so do we need
You don't
any?
need any more.
Okay.
I don't think so, unless there was something that you felt that we needed to do that we hadn't. It's not a complete comprehensive list of everything that they want to do, but I gave you the highlights. Okay, good.
All right, then I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Meeting is now, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 6:18.